Hi everyone, it's me, Rogue Assassin, and I'm back doing another video. This is a Naruto what if? What if Naruto was an ultimate prodigy? I should rename this video, What if Naruto was a trap? But I'm not, because... reasons. Naruto is an ultimate prodigy, not a trap. I just made her as a trap. But anyway, continuing on. Recap the story that we left off of part 1, obviously. We were discussing as Naruto her training regimen, what abilities she learns, how she got these abilities, and what soul she fused with. As you did not know, if you did not watch the last part or did not understand the last part, Naruto died when he was younger. And that was on the death, basically the death. It was basically on the death summons part. He accidentally, once he sealed the Nine Tails in him, destroyed Naruto's soul by accident, and took the remainder of his soul and fused it with another one. It was a very powerful soul, pure soul, and he forgot that the soul was female and Naruto was male. So it basically changed Naruto's, how can I say it, how Naruto would look in the future as a male to how Naruto would look as a female. But Naruto's not a female, obviously, he's a male. Naruto has a bunch of other abilities, and I'm going to get over that right now. Naruto has a Kekkei for seals. Naruto has a Kekkei for seals. He's a sort of seal master. Sort of. He's only made his like a new seal up at the age of like 8. Naruto has the Raishin, flying Raishin. He made a bet with Hiruzen, and he won the bet, so he got 4 jutsus from the Forbidden Scroll of Sealing. Yeah, but I'm getting off topic right now. Sorry if I had to stop the video. I feel basically it's hard to breathe. I'm breathing very heavily. So I had to fix that. But I don't think I fixed that, so I'm gonna be breathing very heavily because I'm still a bit sick. I don't know why. But for some reason I'm just gonna be breathing very heavily now. Continuing on, Nazuki passed the exam. Well, she passed the exam. Unlike Sasuke and Sakura, they failed the exam. When she basically passed it, she got the bells. And Sasuke and Sakura did not get the bells. Sakura and Sasuke have more of a, how can I say it? Sasuke is more emo than he was in canon. He's basically emo Sasuke on top of another emo Sasuke type vibe. Sakura is the same, just put two of her together and yeah, you get Sakura. The ultimate Sakura. Yeah. But I'm not gonna dwell on that for long, let's begin. So, like I said, I was gonna be beginning the wave arc so I'm going to begin now. Naruto, yes, this is how Naruto is going to look. This is how boy Naruto is gonna look. I know there's gonna be some confusion because this is not girl, this is boy Naruto. I'm gonna get some comments down below, but it's the girl Naruto, not a boy Naruto. Well, it looks like a girl Naruto, but it's a boy Naruto. He's fooled his classmates so far. He's also fooled his sensei, and basically the entire village, he's fooled into thinking that he's a girl. Basically, he's not, how can I say, he's treated bad, but not as bad as he would be if he was a girl. You get my drift? So, if he's fighting boys, he's fighting them at full strength, but not as bad as he would be fighting them if he was a boy. You see? And basically, he's also tricked his teacher, so. Well, there, he gets to fight. Basically, he's tricked everyone into thinking that he's a girl. And there are no awkward moments from here and now because he's found ways to get out of tricky situations for discovering his gender, and he wants to keep it a secret for as long as possible until he wants to keep it like he wants to keep the secret until he wants to keep the secret until he gets married to someone. Yeah, and then he'll reveal that he's a boy, not a girl. He wants to keep it that long, which is impressive because he is now, how old? 13? 14? With a getting squad, and they haven't realized that Naruto is a boy yet, which is very impressive. But Naruto is going to keep on that secret up because it's his own little secret that he wants to keep from everyone. Only Hiruzen knows that Naruto is not a girl. As they enter the mission, as Naruto has also been training as in you'll see wind manipulation. He's been training 5 elements in his random 5 elements that he has: earth, water, wind, fire. He's been trying to put them to use in a way, but you'll see what I mean in a use. So let's continue. As the Team 7 enters the building, Team 7 is not a great team. They are not a perfect team. They're always fighting and arguing, especially Sakura and Naruto. And when Naruto argues with Sasuke about something, usually Sakura comes to Sasuke's defense. So it's Naruto and Sakura that's usually arguing, but Sasuke would just basically he would not care. He would sacrifice one of them if he could, if he must. Like it's gonna happen now, just spoilers. Continuing on, as Team 7, I would say they get a rank up just like Naruto convinces Hiruzen to give them, I think it was C rank mission, the Wave of Tazuna mission, as they have to guard Tazuna. As Tazuna comes in the building, he doesn't say anything this time. I mean, he comments on like Sasuke and Sakura, but he doesn't comment on Naruto because for his eyes, it's only how can I say it, a pretty little girl through his eyes. As through Hiruzen's eyes, that little pretty girl will be the death of, that little pretty boy will be the death of everyone that realizes that she is a he. As Naruto basically smirks and says, yes, yes. Basically, everyone heard what he said, but Naruto just smirks and says, yes, yes. Pretty little girl, as she basically grins to herself evilly, as Hiruzen basically shakes his head, as he's not going to say anything. As Sakura basically makes a useless comment on how she's not actually pretty, whether she's not a she, it's a he. As Hiruzen's just shaking his head. Kakashi doesn't even know what's going on because Hiruzen's just shaking his head. Naruto's grinning like a mad person. as Naruto takes something, basically they're about to like leave, so Naruto's looking for something in her coat. As she finds it, as it's a Vaishin kunai, she basically like takes it out of her coat, and Naruto has a coat. So how does the coat look? It's just black. It's a black coat, like Sasuke in Boruto. That's the cloak, but it's big. It's very big. It's very long. It's very long, and it has basically you can put your arms through it. Yeah, as it covers Naruto's entire body. So basically, it conceals his entire body. So everybody can only see her face at all times. She has long, long hair. She doesn't have white hair anymore. No, she has yellow hair, and she has a tail. She doesn't have the tail that I showed you in the previous episode. She has a foxtail. Yeah, a thick foxtail. A thick foxtail. But yeah, that's why she also wears the coat, so she can hide that as well. But also but it also helps conceal more of her gender. And plus, this helps her mostly on missions and when she's fighting. As everyone's walking through, basically they're getting ready. As Naruto is already like by the gate, as she has everything. Also a special tags, some sealing tags, paper to write tags, basically paper and ink, some scrolls, sealing scrolls, and other special tags that she made. But she won't share with the team because it's her tags, not the team's tags, as they don't know about it. Yeah, she also has some of her ration kunai that she made. As every Kakashi says we're off, as they're all doing the wave mission now. As we still basically come to the basically demon brothers. As the difference is Sasuke does still attack the demon brothers. As like when the demon brothers attack Kakashi, the first person they attack is Naruto. As Naruto jumps in the air, as she jumps pretty high, like very very high. She still has that echolocation thing, so she can still do it. As she uses her foxtail this time for the echolocation, while Sasuke deals with the two demon brothers. As she finds Kakashi, as basically she goes, how can I say it? She goes undetected because she's a prodigy with chakra and nature energy. As she lands on Kakashi's basically shoulder. Kakashi doesn't even realize she's sitting on his shoulder. As Kakashi basically comes out of the bush, good job. Nice work, team. As Kakashi looks up, doesn't see Naruto. He doesn't notice that she's on his shoulder. As basically Sakura's like, Kakashi, Naruto's on your... As Kakashi looks next to him, as he sees Naruto sitting on his shoulder, as Kakashi's like, he didn't even take note that she even's like were there. As Kakashi stays calm and asks in his calm voice, how did she sneak up on him? She says, pretty easy. If you're a sensory ninja, you can seal your you can hide your chakra pretty easily if you're a sensory type. As Kakashi nods like, huh. As he asks another question, and how are you so light? She's like, a few seals. As basically, she's like, she doesn't say a few seals, she says it in her mind, a few seals that helped her. She also says, that's my secret. As Kakashi's like, you'll have to tell me about the secret when we get done with the mission. As Sasuke was about to comment on this, but he rather just backed down for now. Whatever Naruto did, he's gonna find out some way. as Naruto is riding on Kakashi's basically shoulder now, as they're still in kind of formation. It's just Naruto is riding on Kakashi's shoulder, as Kakashi is walking in front, as she senses something move in the bushes as she throws a kunai, as it basically Sakura still says what was that for. He threw a kunai at the bush as a bunny jumps out, as basically same thing as canon happens, as she is basically confused, but she's still very, how can I say it, she's on edge now, right now. She's very much on edge. As she's still sitting on Kakashi's shoulder, as all the fog rolls in, and all you hear is something flying towards her, as she senses this, as Kakashi senses this as well, as Kakashi grabs Kakashi grabs Tazuna, pulls it down. It tells everyone to get down, but Naruto was on Kakashi's shoulder. So Naruto jumps, does a black backflip, throws a kunai, few kunais to the direction of where it came from, as it impales the tree, as it basically she went up, they went down, as Zabuza had to back away before he got impaled by kunai, as she lands on the sword, basically where Zabuza holds his sword. She lands on like top of it, as she's standing like Zabuza, so basically she's in Zabuza's place, on top of his executioner's blade, as she's basically looking at Zabuza, as Zabuza is like, "You're a pretty skilled kid. You were able to dodge my sword, for counter. You were able to dodge my sword, counter me, and still land on my sword. You're a pretty skilled kid. What's your name?" As she gives her name. Gives his name, to be more specific. I'm saying her because everyone thinks it's a her. Zabuza thought it also was a her. As Zabuza asked, "What's your name, hon? What's your name, little one?" "Oh, Naruto. Naruto. Well, Naruto, I'm gonna need that sword back." As basically she's like, "Nah, if you want the sword, you're gonna have to fight my sensei first." As Naruto, while he is on top of the sword, he places a tag on the sword, which makes the sword way lighter, like to the point where it's weightless. She basically grabs the hilt of the sword, jumps down, grabs the hilt of the sword, and then her hair basically gets longer as it wraps around the sword, as she uses her arms plus her hair to pull the sword out as she places it on her shoulder, as her hair is wrapping around the entire sword, as she says, "You're gonna have to fight my sensei first if you want this sword." As basically no one really like, it's just like the hair is wrapping around it. It's not covering the entire sword, it's just slightly like going around the sword. As no one really noticed this, no one really cares of this because they like her hair looks long and they really didn't notice that her hair was getting longer. As basically Zabuza's like, "So, I'm impressed. You're able to pull that sword out of. You're able to pick that sword up." As Zabuza can see there's a tag on it. As basically Zabuza doesn't know what the tag does, but I think that's how she's able to pick my sword up, as he says to himself. As Kakashi is wondering how Naruto did it as well, but came to the same conclusion as Zabuza. No, Sasuke is like, "Hey, Naruto, how are you able to pick up that sword?" As Naruto's like, "I'm just able to pick up the sword." As, Sasuke is like, "You have to teach me that, dope." As Naruto is like, nah, I don't need to." As Sakura is like, as basically Sakura starts spitting out how dare you say no to Sasuke? How dare you say no to Sasuke? You should be honored to teach an Uchiha of all things, obviously. Go in there now. As basically, they are busy arguing why that Naruto doesn't want to teach Sasuke how that she did this. Because it's her own skill and she'll teach whoever she wants. As basically she puts the sword on her shoulder. As Zabuza, instead of rushing Kakashi, this time he rushes for his sword, so he's rushing Naruto. As Naruto swings the sword at Zabuza, pretty fast, as Zabuza had to counter with his kunai. Just because the blade is light doesn't mean that doesn't mean that because of the blade it's very light now. Naruto basically has disadvantage. Zabuza has more strength over Naruto. And because of the way that Naruto is basically because the way that Naruto looks so feminine, Naruto doesn't have that much strength to put behind the sword. So this sword is not a good match for her. But she can use it. She jumps back, realizing that she's outmatched in strength, as Zabuza rushes again, as this time he's intended to basically cut her arm off, as she swings again, as this time she throws the sword, as it spins, Zabuza had to basically she'd be backflipped over, as basically he threw it back to Zabuza and pulled the tag off, so yeah, it's basically heavy now. As Zabuza picks it up, as he saw she pulled the tag back off. Zabuza's like, you're a good Kunoichi, and a strong one, but but you're not that good at using weaponry, are you? Naruto's like, yeah, no. The sword I really like to get into using swords, but there's no one to teach me. So I'm stuck with kunai. As she starts throwing takes out a kunai, throws it at Zabuza. Zabuza basically, how can I say it? Defends against it. And if you're wondering where Kakashi is, because Naruto has been swinging a big sword at random, Kakashi couldn't jump in to assist her. As Kakashi finally got a chance to jump in, when Zabuza blocked, as Kakashi rushes in to Zabuza, as now they are busy fighting, as Naruto's watching, as basically Sasuke is telling like Naruto that Naruto must teach him the jutsu she used to carry that big sword. As she's like, nah, I don't need to teach you anything. As Sasuke's getting angry, as he's like, you damn, YouTube's gonna demonetize me for this. You damn bitch. As basically he says that. As basically he says you should be proud to be even breathing in front of an Uchiha. As basically Naruto is like, seriously, you're one hell of an edgelord. As she says this out loud, seriously, you're one hell of an edgelord. As she says another thing, I won't be teaching you anything, and I won't be giving away my secrets and my stuff to you, especially an arrogant Uchiha like yourself. Sasuke grits his teeth and says, oh, the council will hear of this. As Sasuke is really pissed. As Sakura is also Sasuke is also basically, no, Sakura is also saying that Sakura, she's beriddling, I can't say the word, but basically she's helping Sasuke in his defense or argue. As Naruto takes a breath out, basically sighs. She says this is gonna be one hell of a team. It's gonna be a long time since this team ever works together. She uses the echolocation again as she senses something. A second person somewhere near the trees watching them. As she comes to the conclusion that it's Zabuza, one of Zabuza's, because Zabuza, it didn't attack Zabuza, and it didn't help them with the fight, so it must be one of Zabuza's people. As she can sense them, or she detected them somewhere in the trees. As while Kakashi and Zabuza were fighting, Kakashi gets basically, how can I say it, trapped. As water prison as same thing in canon. As Naruto, this time, throws a smoke bomb down. But before she was about to do that, Sasuke rushes in. Sorry guys for that long pause. I don't actually know. For you it was a short pause. For me it was a long one. I don't actually remember where I stopped. But I'm just gonna continue on to where I think I stopped. And that would be, think when Kakashi got captured. Kakashi got captured as in canon, as Naruto was about to throw a smoke bomb on the ground to cover whatever plan they were planning. Sasuke rushed in immediately. As he started rushing in, as he says in his head that if he can defeat Zabuza, then he will obtain the power to kill his brother. As Sasuke is running into battle with all his arrogance that he has, as basically Zabuza makes a water clone, as it actually it doesn't even, it just takes him out. As Sakura rushes into her sister, Sasuke takes him out as well. As the last person was Naruto, as basically he sees how, as the only person left standing is Naruto. As Zabuza, the clone Zabuza, walks up to Sasuke, as Sasuke saying, "No, I can't die here. I can't. I have to kill my brother." As he's pretty close enough to Naruto to substitute. As he's like, "Now, finally, you're worth something, little girl. You're worth your life. You, your life was basically, you're worth something to save an Uchiha's life. Be grateful." As he does the substitute, as he substitutes with Naruto. As Naruto is suddenly in the way of the clone, about to swing down with the sword, as Kakashi saw the substitution, as he's like, damn that brat. Naruto's about to, as Naruto can see the attack coming, as she basically pulls out the kunai, as she also puts it on Kakashi's back, as a seal glowed on Kakashi's back, as basically she disappeared in a flash. As Zabuza, basically, the clone Zabuza, basically immediately once she disappeared, he looked around and looked right back at the real one. As Naruto was basically on top of the real one with basically and threw a kunai. She threw a kunai as it turns into basically explosive kunai as it explodes, releasing Kakashi as she drops to the floor. She's walking on water because she does that automatically. She doesn't need to focus. As Kakashi thanks Naruto as she's still in the sky falling, as but very slowly, as she lands on Kakashi's, how can I say it, shoulders. Her feet are on Kakashi's shoulders. She's like, no, she's like, no biggie. As just had to get you out of the pickle that you got yourself into. As Kakashi's like, yeah, thank you, Naruto, for that save. As Naruto's like, don't mention it.
You owe me ramen when we get back to the village, as Naruto says, as Kakashi is like, ah, fine. I'll give you ramen as a reward when we get back to the village. And I'll punish those two later. As basically they're on the ground. As Naruto basically, how can I say it? Freed Kakashi on his own, as Kakashi says, you can go back with the others now. You'll just be in the way if you're on my shoulders like this. As Naruto's like, okay, as she jumps from Kakashi's shoulders all the way to where Sakura and Sasuke are. As Sasuke looks at her as he's like, how the hell did she just disappeared? As basically Zabuza's still stunned on that. As he's like, it can't be. That jutsu. The flying Raijin, was it? Isn't that the fourth technique? As she's like, maybe, maybe not. It's not like I'm gonna tell you anything, as Zabuza chuckles in his head. You're an interesting girl. You were betrayed by your team, and yet you're not busy choking him out right now. As basically Zabuza says this, as he also says that you're a strong one. You're the strongest you're stronger than this entire team itself. The only person, if anyone goes on a mission, the only person that would be carrying the mission would be you and Kakashi. Which is impressive, because you might be the only strong one on this team, and the only smart one as well. And she's like, I am. But before you, how can I say, before you praise me even further, I have to deal with your partner. As she throws a kunai at the spot where your partner is, as her partner, got hit on the shoulder because she didn't actually expect Naruto to find her. As Zabuza narrows her eyes and says, how did you find Haku? As she, Naruto, is like, well, people keep on forgetting I'm a sensory type. So I can find nearly anyone. No matter what, no matter how good they are at hiding, I can find nearly anyone. As she basically looks at Zabuza, and Zabuza's like, is that so? Then you'll be more annoying than the other two than I thought. As Haku takes the side of Zabuza, as Haku has a kunai in her shoulder. Yes, Haku's a girl by posing as a boy. Naruto's a boy by posing as a girl. Which is, the irony in what I'm saying is impressive. So, Haku's a girl, but she's acting as a boy, so she doesn't get attention from, uh, what's the dealer? Or, not Tazuna, Gato, so she doesn't get extra attention from Gato. And Naruto's posing as a girl to fool everybody around her, including her own sensei, and he's wondering how long he can pull this off. So Naruto and Haku are relatively doing the same thing. As Haku takes Zabuza's side, as Naruto jumps in and says, I'll be jumping in this fight if she's gonna be jumping in this fight. Is that fine with you, Sensei? As Kakashi just huffs and says, yeah, that's fine. Then I don't have to deal with two people and just focus on the dangerous one. As basically Kakashi says, and whatever you do, Naruto, don't be stupid. As Naruto is like, when do I ever do stupid things? As Kakashi looks at her with a blank stare. You seriously want me to answer that? As Naruto's like, okay, never mind, don't answer that. As the fight between Naruto and Haku begins, as they're having a taijutsu fight. But because actually, I would say that it would just nig a shoulder. It wouldn't actually pierce her shoulder, it just nigged it. So she's not that badly damaged. So she's having a fight with Naruto. Taijutsu fight. As they both are equal. As Naruto sweeps Haku's legs, but Haku jumps over it. As Haku throws a few kunai as Naruto rolls out of the way. As Naruto jumps back and avoids a kick from Haku. As the fight goes on like this. As finally Zabuza is badly injured as Zabuza has to retreat with Haku. As basically Zabuza says we're retreating as basically they retreat as Kakashi was gonna go after them but he's too tired because he used his Sharingan. If you're wondering why did Sasuke not complain about the Sharingan, he did, but I was mostly focused on Naruto than Emo Sasuke's reactions to the Sharingan that Kakashi has. As Sasuke thinks, how is Naruto so strong? Damn, I'm supposed to be the strongest in the class. How is the dead last this powerful? As I would say she was a dead last in the academy again. This time, like in the original. As Sasuke is basically great, is grinding his teeth right now in anger. As he's just thinking this. As they take Sasuke and them back to Tazuna's house. As they have to rest there for the night. While basically Kakashi teaches Sasuke and Sakura to tree walk. Because they don't know it and Naruto just does it automatically. So, yeah, Naruto's training on her own, and the same thing with Haku happens. As Naruto sees this, what she thinks is a boy, which is busy collecting plants and herbs to basically heal up the injuries that Zabuza and her faced. As Naruto is busy training on, she's basically doing something odd. She's moving kunais with her hair and throwing them around. She stopped and sat for a while because she was tired. As Aku is there, as she thinks, should I kill this one? She's pretty powerful. And she said she was a sensory, but I don't think she's noticed me yet. So, if I kill this one here, she won't become a threat later. As she jumps down, she has a kunai somewhere in her kimono that she wears. As basically Naruto turns around and sees her as Naruto sees this boy, that was looking for herbs and stuff that the boy states, Haku states. Uh, Naruto asks her name as I would say she gives a fake name, not a real name. Because Zabuza already called her Haku. She gives a fake name. And Naruto's like, oh well then I'm Naruto Uzumaki. And she basically like her eyes gets narrower. Are you that's a weird name for a girl to have. As she states, she's questioning now. As Naruto's like, well, it's just the name my parents gave me. She's like, oh, okay then, I guess. As Haku can tell she's trying to hide something. As Naruto says, well, you look odd. Well, that's a odd. Basically, Naruto is now questioning what Haku's wearing. Because now that she can see the person's face because she knows this is Haku. She knows this is Haku from the chakra signature. It's the same thing like the person she fought with the mask. As she says, you know, you look oddly female to be male. As Haku looks at her, as Haku's like, but nah, I'm a boy. As Naruto's like, sure you are. As like basically she says that in her head, sure you are. If you're getting an idea that I am a girl, that I am a boy, then I'm getting a good idea that you're a girl. But I'm not gonna push her, as they still talk about the same things as canon. As they still leave as in canon, Naruto gets back, oversleeps, same thing in canon, as she fights the bandits that was at Tazuna's house. As she comes to the bridge, as she sees the fight going on, and this time Sasuke is very badly hurt, as before like Sasuke was about to get finished by Haku, Naruto did a swap as Naruto did a swap as she used her hair to place a barrier as it blocks the incoming attacks that were coming, as she did basically a substitution with Sasuke, as Sasuke is now next to Sakura, as now Naruto is in the dome, as Sasuke is unconscious, as Naruto is like, now you face me. So, bring it on. Haku, was it? As Haku starts basically doing the same thing she did with the Marios, as she basically jumps from Mario to Mario, throwing kunai, as Naruto is dodging and blocking all of them because she can kind of see all of the kunais, as Naruto is putting up a bit of a better fight than like Haku, until she gets hit in the arm with a like needle, as she's like, as her arm goes limp, as she's like, thus that was a pressure point she hit, as Haku throws more because she was distracted, as Naruto jumps away from that set of things and pulls out the needle, as instantly her hand comes back, as Haku's like, that's impossible. That's supposed to render her arm useless for a few hours. But she can move her arm again, as Naruto thinks if it wasn't for my healing factor, my arm would have been useless for a few hours. As she pulls out a kunai with two tags attached to it, as she throws it to one of the mirrors. As the first tag burns up, as the kunai glows with blue energy, as the second tag burns up, as the kunai ignites in fire and turns into a dragon. Still with the kunai inside it going forward, as the dragon gets boosted by the blue energy, as it's now a massive dragon, as it destroys a few it basically hits the Moes as it destroys one of them. As she's like, glad it worked. As Haku was like, what was that? That kid didn't even use a hand sign. She just threw a kunai. As she takes out more kunais with this tag, starts throwing it at the Moes. As there's so much kunai she's throwing that Haku can't regenerate all of them. As Naruto presses a kunai on the floor with two kunais on basically two tags glowing on top of it. As Naruto jumps out of the roof with another kunai, as Haku looks back, as the first one disappears, the second one disappears, and the third one glows. As a massive explosion happens on the bridge, as that basically drew the attention of both Zabuza and Kakashi to look at it. As Kakashi's like, that's a big explosion. As Kakashi was scared that Sasuke got hurt, but all you can see is Haku flying out of the dome, as she got full blunted by that explosion, as that explosion was times by 2, as Haku's like, that's impossible. You boosted the explosion's damage and how much it output as Naruto's like, oh, you noticed? Yes, I boosted the explosive tag with 2 other tags. I know I could have done that indirectly by just adding a bit more chakra to the tag, but I don't want to waste my chakra in doing that, so I'd rather use chakra tags, as that's what I'm calling it, chakra tags. It holds a large amount of chakra that's able to boost any ninjutsu tag, any tag that is that has a special effect that requires chakra, such as explosive tags, poison clouds tags. What else? Uh, Naruto's dragon, Naruto's dragon element tag. Um, basically, she can basically also barrier tags. Basically, it won't require a person but a few tags of Naruto's chakra tag to keep it up for a certain amount of time before the chakra goes out. As Naruto is basically stretching, as he's walking to Haku, as Haku is struggling to stand, as Naruto blitzes towards Haku. Not that fast, but pretty fast. It looks like it blitz, but you can still see her. A tuning can still see Naruto, as in front of Haku, punch in the stomach, as she coughs spit, as her mask falls off, as Naruto's like, so I was right, it is you. As as Naruto says, you're Haku, I guess. As she places a tag on her head that basically stops her from moving and cuts her chakra off completely. As all she just drops on the floor. As Naruto's like, that's one, I guess. Now time for the second one. As Naruto jumps off the bridge, as Zabuza and Kakashi was fighting, Kakashi stops fighting. As Naruto lands on Kakashi's shoulder, her two foot, basically her left foot is on Kakashi's left shoulder, right foot on Kakashi's right shoulder, and she's standing on Kakashi's shoulders. As basically she looks down, Kakashi looks up, saying, "So Kakashi, you need help?" As Kakashi's like, huh, I could go with a bit of a rest. She's like, I'll take it over from here. As basically she throws a kunai, which is the dragon kunai, obviously, the dragon tag and the chakra tag that has it. 2 tags burn as a water dragon appears in the kunai as it rushes towards Zabuza. As Zabuza had to dodge, he had no time to counter that. As Zabuza thinks she can turn her kunais into elemental dragons. That's a new thing, I guess. She throws a few more kunais that does the same. As this was only distraction, as she's right now in front of Zabuza. As she pulls out one of her kunais, intending to cut Zabuza's head off, as Zabuza blocks with his sword. As she's like, ah, darn it, I missed. As basically Zabuza swings in a diagonal style. Basically Zabuza swings to cut Naruto in half from the waist. So Zabuza is going to cut Naruto in half from the waist as Naruto jumps. As he jumps basically slightly over, as Naruto's hair is the only thing sliding over the blade. As she did a backflip over it. As her hair caught the blade once it was leaving. As Zabuza can't move with his blade. As the hair wraps around the sword. As Naruto is like, what? My hair got tangled up in your weapon. As she uses the hilt, basically grabs the hilt from Zabuza, uses with her hair and the basically hilt and swings the same basically the opposite direction that Zabuza swung, but with much more force because Zabuza was still in the swinging motion, so she just took the strength of Zabuza and just times it and used it against him. As Zabuza is about to get cleaved in half until somebody speaks. It's Gato and his men, as she stops. As Gato and his men still think in canon. As Naruto, as Zabuza says, you can stop now, kid. You can give me back my sword now, kid. We're no longer enemies, so we no longer have to fight. As Naruto looks back at Kakashi, as Kakashi nods to Naruto. As Naruto says, fine. But once this is over, you come to the village, as she smirks. As Zabuza is kind of shocked, but he can't be right now because he's fighting an army. As she's gonna fight with Zabuza, because Zabuza has a little bit of, he's running out of stamina. He has quite a little bit of stamina left. Enough to kill them, but Naruto's just gonna make it easier. As Zabuza is with Naruto preparing to fight, as they both rush in, as Naruto throws his first kunai, which is the basically dragon kunai, as it's a fire dragon, basically fire dragon, as its flames basically roar across the opponents and scorch everything and everyone, as Zabuza is slicing everyone while Naruto's also cutting through everyone, as basically Naruto is hitting pressure points because Naruto has learned medical ninjutsu, so Naruto does know a lot where the pressure points are in the human body. As Naruto has just defeated a lot of ninjas, but there's still a lot more, as she throws basically a four-tagged kunai in the air. As the first thing is a chakra tag, it burns up. The second tag is a cloning tag, it clones the entire kunai with its two tags that remains. As there are now 50 kunais in the sky, as they're coming down, as the chakra tag burns up, another chakra tag burns up, as the dragon tag goes off, as different elemental dragons of many different elements start raining down. Some yin, some yang, some fire, earth, water, lightning, as they were just raining down. As Naruto wiped out the entire army just with that kunai. As Naruto is like, didn't need to use any of my own chakra for that. As basically Gato's the one left, as Zabuza beheads Gato. As that happened. As basically Zabuza walks back up to Naruto and says, that offer that you said, after this, me coming to the village, the Leaf Village, right? I'll take it. But only because you are skilled, kid. As Naruto is basically says, well, looks like I did some good, as Naruto takes the tag off of Haku, as Haku gets up, as Zabuza fills Haku in on what happened, as Haku could hear what happened, sort of. Naruto could hear, Haku could hear, as now Naruto, Haku, and Zabuza are heading to the Leaf Village. As I'm gonna stop it there. The next box I'll be going over is when Naruto enters the village with his new two friends, I guess, that he made, and the basically the test, or the basically competition and test. I don't remember what it's called, but after that's where I'll be continuing off, and I might do the go over the 3 exams and then finish it off there. So this is getting kind of long. Hey, look, I didn't hit the 1 hour mark, but I'm about to, so I better end this off now. That was What If Naruto Was an Ultimate Prodigy, and I feel terrible with a headache. on top of that, my voice is paining, and I think I might do another video tomorrow. I don't know. I really don't know. Tomorrow's a mystery. The future's a mystery, but I always have to live in the present, right? Okay, that quote is out of there. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I have a headache now. Oh no. I can feel I have a headache. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please pray for me that this headache goes away. Bye for now, and see you later.